Veit from AAEglass.com. Thanks for joining me today. For those of you that are new, this is called the Saturday video. I used to put one out every month until I got super busy, and now I do it about 2 or 3 times a year. Well, this is one of those times. All you got to do is, if you found this video, you found the right page. This is free. You do not have to log in or register to watch, and all the supplies that you need for this video are on the video page, and so you can check that out. What this is a free video class that I will leave up forever because you guys have earned it with our new Facebook page. Everybody's been so supportive and awesome, so you've earned that. But more importantly, you're going to want to know what we are doing today. So this is fantastic. I'm calling this the, it's the ladle spoon mold, but I wanted to get super fancy with it and get a lot of technique in there. I think you guys could sell the heck out of these at your shows, and it's July, so you should be making stuff right now for the season. July was always the time that I kicked it in and started, to get going. But let me tell you something, guys. Let me tell you something. These things can hold candles. These are 9 3/4 inches long. These things can hold candles and candy and okay? Think of it. All different picture of these things, pictures just laying out. It's going to be amazing. The second thing we're going to do is we're actually going to do these textured ginkgos in a deep slump bowl. So you might be thinking, I don't like ginkgos, or maybe you're thinking, I don't like deep slump bowls. Okay, that's totally fine. But the firing schedules that I've been working on for this past month are unbelievable to A, retain textures. We're going to make a paste with the powder with the ginkgos and retain the textures, fire some sparkly special stuff on there, slump and tack at the same exact time, uneven thicknesses. It doesn't matter if you don't like ginkgos. You should be watching this anyway because the firing schedules I'm giving you can use in so many aspects of your work. I'm super excited. That's why I'm talking fast. That's not why I'm talking fast. I always talk fast because I cannot wait to say these words to you. We got a Saturday video. Let's go. Fusing party glass, don't you know? Short but catchy. Let's rock. Okay guys, before we get started, there's a couple things that I want to comment on. If you are like me, you are prepping for your Christmas shows and your Christmas sales, your holiday sales in July. So I'm a little late showing you guys something. I'm telling you, I have it in my gut that these ladles are going to sell like crazy. There's nothing like this on the market. They can be used as candle holders, they can be used as key holders, they can be used as soap holders in the bathroom, they can be used as roll up a washcloth, put the little ladle guy there, just one, have it in a nice guest bathroom. So, and you can do this with any other water jet pre-cut shapes. I've just thought of 2 of them for you to get you started. But the color wash technique I'm going to do with the frit is you're going to love it. So this cut can be a little tricky for the ladle mold. First of all, kiln wash your ladle mold. Everybody knows that, right? Use thin kiln wash. 5-to-1 bullseye kiln wash, I think, is at the absolute best. Give yourself, 6-7 coats. Now, I will tell you guys, this was a bear to work out as far as cutting the correct glass shape and firing it in the mold. I did have to slump it 4 times to figure out that schedule for you. So I figured that out. It's going to be in your PDF handout, but it was a doozy. In addition, normally what you guys would do is probably take your mold, flip it over, trace it with a Sharpie, cut it out, thinking that's what you're going to do. I found that they will wobble if you do that. The finished product will wobble. So what I want you to do is cut a more geometric shape, and I found that I was very successful with this on every single slump. Now, the template was a doozy to make. I made the template for you. That's also in your handouts, okay? So all I want you to do is take the template, put it on, put your transparent glass over the template, trace the template with a Sharpie, and cut it out. Now I'll give you guys this hint. You can get 2 of these large, these are pretty big, these are 9 3/4, 2 large ladles out of 1 10x10 if you cut it correctly. And I plan that. Although the directions, like the mold itself is about 10 1/4 inches long, go 9 3/4 and you get 2. And as you can see by mine, they worked out just fine. So trace the template onto your glass. If you're using opal glass as your base, you can use whatever base you want. If you're using opal glass, you're going to go ahead and use a light box to put your glass over the template and then just trace it with a Sharpie. Otherwise, just use plain old Tecta or clear glass. It's easier to cut. It's easier for you to see the lines. I'd say on your first one to do that because this can be a tricky cut. So as you guys can see here, I have already traced my line. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. This entire fuse is only going, it's going to go very, very low, and it's very necessary to do the color wash that I'm going to show you, which I can't wait to show you. It's like a shabby chic look. It's amazing, okay? So there was a lot of finagling with these kiln schedules, a lot. I've been working on this for a month, so I want you to know to please follow those schedules that I have given you. But when it comes out of the kiln the first time, it's going to be a rough kind of feeling, and that's exactly what we want. So we can work on the single layer of glass. We now don't have to worry about things oozing out the side because we're only going to 1310 on the first firing. The slump's a lot lower. So let's go ahead, and I've traced this template for time's sake already. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut this with my straight edge and go ahead and cut out this shape. All right, guys, so now that you made that cut, make it a couple times, and again, work on the transparent glass and practice, and you'll be good. Now, remember, I said we're only going to 1310, so that's not enough to, you know, I don't want these sharp corners, so I'm going to go ahead and help it along a little bit because that temperature is just enough to, you know, soften it, and but I don't want these sharp corners, okay? So all I'm going to do is take a diamond hand pad. This is a 220. Even probably a 400 would work, but not a 600 or a 100. It's going to be too rough, and the temperature that we're going to is not going to polish it back up, and it's going to be, you're going to have rough sides. I cannot express this to you enough. This is the most important part of this technique. If this doesn't slump right in the mold, you're going to do all of that work for nothing, okay? So if this piece comes out after you cut it, and you've got little shanks and flares and things like that on the side, you've got to get them out. You can go to a grinder and kind of true this up, or you can use a diamond hand pad. If you go to a grinder, I don't have a problem with that, but make sure you are on a fine grinder head. If you're on a coarse or a standard, guys, it's not going to enough temperature, and you're gonna get those gray hazy lines on the side, and it's gonna look terrible, okay? So this just happens to be cut perfectly. How ironic, okay? But what I'm going to do is I've got my diamond pad here, and I've got some water on here, and I'm just going to round that corner out. Look at that. That's a 220, guys. This is perfect. You could go to, see, this is fine. You can go to a grinder, but you know, I got to get up, go to the grinder, put the sponge in, put the water in. I just boom, boom, boom. Oh, look at that, guys, okay? So you're not trying to shape it. We're just getting those sharp. Look at that. See, I said no cold working. That's kind of cold working, but not really, all right? Next thing that you're going to do is clean this glass. So let's go ahead and clean it before we start loading stuff up on it. Now, these pre-cut water jet shapes were designed by moi, okay? I tried to think of things that customers ask us, like what's popular right now, and whale's tails seem to be a huge one. People love whale's tails, okay? So it's pretty intricate, and this guy's pretty big. It's almost 3 inches wide. So what you guys want to do is get your whale's tail, and what we're going to do is actually add enamel to this so it looks very realistic. So the first thing that I'm going to do is kind of judge where it's going to go on my ladle or holder. I don't like to be saying ladle. Let's call this the curved holder. I don't know, we got to think of something snazzy because that thing can be used for a lot of uses, not just a spoon ladle. If you guys sell it as a spoon ladle only, that's all that people, you're narrowing your market. They're going to go, okay, now you got to appeal to spoon ladle people. You don't know if they need a spoon ladle, right? So when you have these displayed in your art show and your website, make a few of them and put keys and rings and whatever else you can think of. Those sage, people, that's a big thing right now. People like to sage their homes. The sage sticks, why couldn't that be used as an ashtray of a sage stick? That's okay. You guys can send me your royalty check money for that tip, okay? Because that's going to be a good one, all right? So, you know, when you market your stuff, guys, you got to appeal to a wider market since glass is already a smaller market. You've got to get everybody that you can, okay? So first thing I'm going to do is mark out where I want my tail to go with my Sharpie. I just mark it out. I don't have to do it the whole way, just to get the idea of where this is going so I can keep track of what I'm doing. Okay, now what we're going to do is paint the whale's tail. Now, we're going to do everything that I'm about to do in one firing. Okay, one firing. I'm not going to tack fuse the tail to the glass, then paint it, then add the frit. One firing. These are the things that I'm trying to work out for you guys to save you guys time and money. Okay, so one firing and one slump, and you're going to be shocked at what we're about to do to this thing. So I'm going to take my glass out of the way, and now I'm going to paint my whale's tail with the Easy Fire enamels. Okay guys, for this particular one, we're going to use Easy Fire enamels to color our whale's tail. Okay, so we've got to mix it up first. I've got a very extensive Saturday video, screen printing 1, simple screen printing part 2, where I'm mixing the enamel for screen printing, and it's a lot thicker. The good news is you're going to need more medium and less enamel here, because we're going to make this thinner, because we're actually going to paint with the enamel. We're not screen printing through a bunch of holes, so we're going to paint. So that's good. Your enamel's going to go a lot further. I'm going to use the Fuse Master silkscreen, and of course all of these supplies are for you. We've ordered extra because Saturday videos are crazy at aaglass.com. If we run out, guys, which we usually do after the first 3 days, if we run out, we're going to go ahead and do something a little different, and we're going to pre-order. We've got all the vendors on standby, so we'll go ahead and get your orders in, and then we'll ship it out as soon as the product comes in, which is usually within a week. So get your orders in early if you can. All right, now I want to show you a picture of the whale's tail that I got inspiration from. It is definitely okay to look on Google Images and punch in the word whale's tail and take a look at that, okay? I really wanted a realistic whale's tail coloring, and oh my gosh, did I nail it, okay? It's dark blue enamel and black enamel, and I mixed them together. We'll get to that in a second. But the first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and use opaque white to put a base down on the tail, so it takes the coloring really, really nicely, and I want to put a little white into the tail. So first thing we gotta do is mix our enamel. Okay, so everybody, you should be having your masks on at this point. Okay, and I'm just gonna mix up a little bit here. Once you mix the enamel, it's good for about 30 days. Make sure it's in an airtight container. So I'm just gonna mix up just what I need today for the filming, because I don't think I'm gonna get back here. Because guess what? I'm going on vacation on Monday, so I wanted to get this done for you guys before I left, okay? All right, so this is opaque white. Do not use the mixing white that we carry. That's something totally different. We're using opaque white. So the consistency that we're looking for is a little bit heavier than cream. So I'll mix it up for you here. Normally I would not mix it in these plastic containers. I would mix it into a little metal jar or something like that, a glass jar. You could, but I wanted to show these seem to show really nicely on camera. I've got myself a little spatula here, little dental tool spatula. Your masks are on, everybody. Now the Easy Fire enamels are lead free, so that's good. And this is going to be our base coat for the whale's tail. Get all those clumps out, so important, okay? Very, very important. So this is choppy, clumpy. A popsicle stick would work really well, guys, just a wooden popsicle stick. It's like the paddle, but I like it to be flat so I can mash it against the sides and get all of the dry clumps out of here. This is actually pretty thin. So the thinner that it goes, it means you have more enamel and less color, right? So you've got to be careful of that. You don't want it too thin. You're probably thinking, oh, I want to really stretch my enamel, but you're going to really water down the color as well. And we want that opacity before I put the black and blue color on the whale's tail. Okay, so if I'm going to paint my pre-cut shapes, and guys, we have lots of them. We've got some really good ones. All botanical and sea life. There's huge fish. There's so many of them. But I like to put this white background on everything that I paint, just so it really takes the color nicely. So I do this with when I'm using the enamels on the water jets, and the next project we'll use bullseye powders, but well, that looks pretty good, okay? That is looking pretty good. All right, let's go with it. Next, all of the water jet pre-cut shapes come in this nice package right here. There's a little label on top when you guys get them. You can't just break these open like this. You're going to actually break the water jet, okay? So what you want to do is just take a craft knife and come around and follow the design, and they'll come out very, very easily. And it'll pop right out. Now guys, something else that's important, when you get these water jet shapes, and we've got quite a few, about 20 new designs of them, what you want to do is you want to clean these thoroughly. Just take an alcohol and water solution and clean them. Reason being, the water jet machine will actually come around here, obviously, and cut it, and it can leave like an oily residue on your piece, and you can get your vitrification or some of that residue to actually fuse into your piece. So we discovered that when we got so excited, opened them up, ripped them open, did it, and go, oh shoot. Okay, so now make sure you clean, and we haven't had any problems, but clean these, not just the tops, but the sides from the water jet machine, okay? So I've got 2 whale's tails here, and I'm just going to paint 2 at once. So I strongly encourage you guys, you know, if you're going to make ladles, what are we going to call them? Something else, right? Slumpy curve things. Cool, slumpy curve things, all right? You want to just paint as many as you can. Use up that enamel and streamline. So if I know I'm going to do 2 whale's tails, a bromeliad plant, a big fish, and a monstera leaf, I just do a whole bunch of them if I know I'm going to paint them with enamel. So we want to get, it's almost like a primer. Think of it as a primer, okay? To make my job easier, I'm going to put these on top, and I like to have a little bit of the glass hanging over the edge so I can easily grab it, okay? Sponge set, love these things. A Glass just started carrying them, they're cheap. I like them. Yes, you could go ahead and get them at Michael's. You can get a big package of 50 and they never have all the sizes that you want, and this has all the sizes that you want. So I'm just trying to cover the surface area, so I'm going to go ahead and just use the big guy. Again, this is the opaque white, and so we're just trying to get that base color down. And I want to make sure that it covers it. I know that someone's going to say, well, do you paint the sides? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I really don't want this to blend into the background. I want it to be really 3-dimensional, so, you know, I really don't do that for these, but you absolutely could, okay? All right, so that's about all that takes. Now, you might be thinking from my other videos, I taught you that when you're laying color on top of color, to go ahead and sinter these. That means you put your first base color down, you go into the kiln, and you fire the enamel between 11 and 1250 just to make that color permanent. You don't have to do that with this. Remember, we're going for 1 firing, okay? So what I'm going to do is actually have my base color down, and I'm going to take a blow dryer to it. Takes maybe 2 minutes, and then I'm going to add more color on top, staying within the 1 firing theory. So let's go ahead and blow dry these, and then we'll start adding some of that custom color. All right, guys, so now I've got my whale's tail. They're completely, we're only doing 1, but I had another one out, so I thought I'd paint it. And if you don't use it, that's totally fine. Just put it off, put them in a box. Just be careful you don't scratch the enamel. These are very sturdy and can take a lot of beating. So this is what we got. Now, if you don't, it kind of has that texture. I don't know if you can see it on camera. It has the texture from the Ponzi spongy thingy, which is awesome because let's take a look at this picture one more time. You can see that it kind of has that texture. It looks very natural, so that's cool with me, and we're going to cover most of it up anyway. The other thing is, if you get this dry and you can see through to the clear glass, you've probably mixed the enamel too thin, or you don't have enough enamel. So don't just keep putting more on. Okay, dry that first coat. It literally takes about 90 seconds with a blow dryer, and then add more. Otherwise, you're just pulling up wet paint. I know a lot of companies have pre-cut shapes. They don't have these, and they also have them all in colored glass, but I wanted clear. I wanted clear so we could do cool things to them, like enamels and powders, which is what we're doing today. All right, so let's go ahead and add some color to this guy and get it onto our cool slumpy thingy, okay? So what I'm going to do is, I've got this custom color that I've mixed here. It is so good, guys. It looks so realistic. I can't even believe it came out this way. So I want you guys to get opaque enamel, dark blue enamel, and black enamel, okay? Black is too black, dark blue is too dark blue. So I thought it's kind of like a grayish, bluish black. That's what a real whale's tail looks like. So all I did was I took 2 scoops. With my tweezer scoopers, I took 2 scoops of black and 2, heaping scoops. Maybe I should just show you 1 heaping scoop so you know. So it's 2 in equal parts, okay? I don't know how much you're gonna mix up. Equal parts. So, like this. Just 2 scoops of black, 2 scoops of dark blue, and then I mixed it all together in a jar, okay? Now, I do not advise you mixing Easy Fire enamels thinking that red and white is going to make pink. It doesn't work that way because these do have cadmium in them and reactive chemicals that can cause problems. So you always have to test, do a little test with a little dot on a piece of glass when you start mixing things. But this one I can tell you works because I've done it. Okay, so now I've got my custom color, 2 scoops of black, 2 scoops of dark blue. Okay, so this is actually mixed, I mixed this about a week ago, so I'm gonna go ahead and stir that up. And it's a nice consistency, nice consistency. Not too thick, not too thin, just right. All right, so now I'm gonna go to my smaller ponds here, and I'm gonna look at my whale's tail picture, and I'm going to use it for inspiration. And many painters, many artists, many glass artists do that more than you know or think, which I know for a fact, okay? First thing I'm gonna do is, it's just the most perfect color. I can't wait for you guys to see this live. I'm gonna go on the edges here. I'm actually gonna take this down. It's a little easier for me to put it flat. See how nicely that takes it? And it's really going to reflect color because of that white underneath. Wear gloves if you guys want to, and the enamel washes off, but. All right, so this, if I kind of going by the picture, this kind of has a dark center, and then like a little bit of the white showing on each side. I don't want that to look too stripy, so let's come up here. Okay, now you can certainly, I'm rushing through this pretty quick for the video, but you can certainly add more color, and then all you would need to do is build up more color, is just go ahead and blow dry it. So I feel like it looks a little stripy, so I'm probably gonna come back in with my little guy here and just add a little bit more of the white. I just feel like that didn't look too natural. And I want to mix it just a little bit. Okay, coming back here because that doesn't look right. There we go. That's starting to be something now. Okay. What I'm going to do is I can either push this off to the side and start working, and hopefully it will dry, or I can just take a blow dry real quick. You can see it's already starting to dry because when you have the dry enamel underneath, and it's just soaking it right up, it's drying right before our very eyes. So, by the way, if you wanted to put this off to the side and not come back to it for a month later, nothing's going to happen. Just put it so where the top of the enamel is not scratched. That's not a big deal. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean up this mess real quick, and we're gonna go ahead and get to the composition. All right, everybody, so we've got our whale's tail, which is done, and we know where that's gonna go. And now what we need to do is add some color to the bottom in sheet glass here, okay? So you can use 3mm sheet glass is the best, and just use scrap. and I'm going to use blue watercolors. You can use whatever color that you want. You can use whatever color you want into the sky. So, you know, it just kind of depends which water jet shape. The technique I'm about to show you can use on many things, but just there's so many water jet shapes out there. I mean, you can make these holders with the monstera leaf, just the fish, the branches come to mind, the ginkgos come to mind. So you're going to change your color scheme. So you've got one layer here for the base, and your second layer is going to be sheet glass on the bottom here, okay? All right, so I'm gonna start with my lightest color. I've got some aqua blue tint to make sure all your glass is clean. And I'm gonna line up the straight edges there. And I'm gonna go up about 4 pieces, maybe 3 for time's sake. All I'm doing is outlining the glass. And you know, just be sure that this glass does not hang over the sides, okay? We're gonna have problems with the mold. We wanna keep inside, so cut it a little short. Not full fusing this. This is a textural 3D piece of art here, okay? So I wanna go inside that Sharpie line. I'd rather be a little short so I don't have problems with stuff hanging over the side. Inside the Sharpie. Okay? And this can be, you know, yay. It doesn't matter how long you want the pieces. That's up to you. More scrap for later. Now, bullseye blue gel is your best friend. Have a lot of blue gel. I love it. Use it for everything. It burns clean. It's great. You get about a half-hour working time. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply it liberally because I don't want things to move around on me. And all we're doing is just setting up this ocean part down here, okay? So I'm inside the lines. That's exactly where I want to be. Inside the edges, I should say. See how that? This is going to be a textural piece. I've got about 1/8 of an inch on each side. That's perfect, okay? I'm just going to continue on. I'll put a little wavy piece up here. I'll show you how I do that. So I'll just go ahead and start cutting this. There's a nice straight edge. And if these pieces don't meet, it's okay. I'm going to show you a trick in a little bit of how to get around that. Make sure you're cutting on the smooth side of the glass, as I said that. Yes, I am. Okay. So I've got my side right here. And I don't really need to toggle through. I'm going to kind of whip through this here. Yeah, we'll go a little hot. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Okay, so I want to have a little bit of a wave piece right here. I still want to work with that straight edge because that'll be easier for the whale's tail. If I have, or if you have those rolled edges that are not too rolled, if you know what I'm saying, where they've got the big, kind of almost like a hump right there, that'll be difficult for the whale's tail to set on top. But you can definitely use the rolled edges for this. That's a perfect thing. And I think we will do that, but then I want something kind of just to have a little interest right here. I'm going to cut a curved piece. Now, I'm going to show you how to fit a piece inside a curved piece, but the thing is, you've got to cut the curved piece first. Watch what I mean here. Let's get that out of the way. Okay, aren't you glad we have that line that we made with our Sharpie? All right, so that's a nice natural water line. And guess what? That's the wrong side of the glass. Okay, You guys know we don't edit these Saturday videos. We don't have time for that. So I make mistakes right on camera and I own it, okay? All right, now I just want this piece to have a little interest. So I want to have a little wave to it, all right? Just to have a little bit of an interest. So I'm gonna actually cut that piece first, then fit this piece to go with that piece. So that's how I do it. Some of you guys may have something easier to do, and by all means, if it works, do it. So I'm cutting inside the Sharpie line. This is not necessarily have to be done with the design, guys, okay? If you want to just cut straight pieces, you know, straight edge pieces and just stripe it out all the way to the top, that's fine. As I say, I show you everything and then you pick out what you want to do out of it. You can do it all, you can do a little, you can do a medium amount. I need more bullseye gel. I didn't quite hit that area right there, okay? And as you can see, I have a little bit of a hangover here on the sides. All right, I really did do that on purpose. The reason why is I want to show you that's going to be a no-go. We've got to pull it in a little bit, okay? So this is where your grosiers, yes, these guys right here come in handy because you can't, if you make a little cut on the side, I see this all the time in my classes. People are trying to, let's do it right now. People are making these skinny cuts, these skinny scores on the end where they have a little bit of glass with a skinny piece of glass on the other side, the score I should say, and then they're trying to use their breaking pliers. That's a no-go. That's not going to work. That is for a grosier, which is curved side down. This is a little slippery because I've got gel on it, and you just pull it out. See how I did that, guys? I pulled it out. Pulled it out. I didn't break down. I pulled it out. You break down, stuff goes flying everywhere, okay? So now let's see what we got. And then we are in the zone. I'm a little bit off right there. I don't think I cut the sides is what happened here. Okay, grosier, pull it out. Nice wave right there. Okay, good. So now I'm going to finish this up with a larger piece right here. I think I'm going to go back to the light aquamarine. Okay, so I have to follow that curve. This does not have to be perfect, thankfully, for everybody, right? Okay, so I've got that room on the side. This happens to be a piece that fits. That's totally fine with me. And all I'm going to do is put that piece over the edge of the curved piece, okay? Give myself enough room here. Got to have glass on either side of the score to have a nice clean break. And I'm just going to follow the curve with the Sharpie. Okay, this is just like, you know, you stained glass people would have had this done 20 minutes ago already, right? Because you guys are awesome at cutting glass. And I'm just going to fit that piece in here. Does not have to be perfect. I will show you why in a moment. So let's get that straight edge here. Which that's not straight, is it? There we go. It's a little harder for me because I am cutting, sitting down and kind of far away for the camera shot, and that is not how I cut glass, so please bear with me if I seem a little bizarre while cutting glass, okay? Boom, don't hold the glass, that'll give you some help, with breaking. Ah, Tanya. Okay, got a little flare right here, use the proper tool, and then just pull that little flare out, okay? All right. That was the hardest part, guys, right there, that was it. Okay, so that should relatively fit, and it does. There's a little gap right here, and that is just fine. I'll show you how to take care of that at the end of this step. Okay, here we go. We got our 4 pieces here. They don't have to be perfectly pretty. I'll tell you that we are going to refine this a bit when we start putting frit in here, okay? All right, there you go. I didn't put enough gel on here, I don't think. All right, so that's how you put that together. Could you put one piece of glass here? Yes, of course you could. Just make sure it's within the boundaries of the edge of the glass, okay? Yes, of course you could. No problem. That's no problem at all. Okay, whale's tail. Go ahead. Dip your bullseye blue gel in, and let's get that. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to paint the entire thing. And it's a liberal amount. You'll see why in just a moment, okay? All right, I got my nice whale's tail. I'm gonna go right here. Okay, now, what I want you guys to do is pick out 2, 3, 4 transparent, I'm a little off, but that's okay. Transparent colors for the background. Transparent frit, fine frit colors. You could use medium as well, but let's start with the fine to show you how that looks. You could mix medium and fine. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to fill this background with that fine transparent frit. Must be transparent. You know, you could do opal. You could do opal, but it depends on what the design wants. For this, we're going to do transparent. I think you'll like it a lot better. And what we're going to do is we're going to fill this entire background with the fine frit color that we like. It takes very little, probably 2 ounces of frit. This is scrap glass right here, so you're not spending a lot of money there. And we're going to fill this up, and then we're going to take this to 1310, and just enough where it's rough and tacky. It's not even really glossy. That's not the look we're going for. And then we're going to do something cool before we slump it. So another thing, guys, if you're buying cascade glass or streakies with pieces that have just a little bit of the design, I know everybody gets, I do as a glass artist, you buy that cool Cascade by Bullseye, it just has a design running down the middle, and then like that portion is, but then you get these, you know, these offcuts on the side that just have just a little bit of the streakiness showing. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. Use those pieces for stuff like this. This is exactly what you should be doing. So the next tool that you're going to need absolutely is this scooper tweezer tool, okay? It's got a little bit of enamel on this. Let me wipe that off. This is the tool that you should be using. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to put transparent glass. I picked out a few of my favorites here, and I will tell you, I did put them on your supply list in the newsletter, and they're also on the supply list. If you go to the video page that you watch this video on, there's a tab right next to the description that says supplies. Hit that, it'll take you right down. You can look at all the supplies that you need. The problem is I want you guys to look at the PDF because I can't put how much you need. So although you might see 6 frits listed from Bullseye, it doesn't mean you have to buy a pound of each. You might have them, this is only 2 ounces of frit. So that is specified in the PDF that you guys have. So I've got here light aquamarine, light turquoise, turquoise, and sky blue. All fine frit, okay? All transparent. What I'm going to do is gradiate from the bottom to the top. I'm going to start light to dark. That's how I like to do it. Again, if you're not doing a whale's tail, we're going to do a bromeliad plant on the next one. Just, you know, as long as it's transparent and as long as it's fine. No powder. It's not going to be enough volume. This is a single sheet of glass, and we have to worry about that, okay? So what I'm going to do is, guys, you're just going to cover up this entire background, okay? And watch how I do this with the scooper. I get a nice even level. It's okay if you get on top of the whale's tail. We're going to fix that when I'm done. And I'm basically tapping with my finger, going right up to the edge of that tail. I know it looks lumpy now, but just hold on a sec, okay? This is why you want that. You definitely want that Bullseye blue gel when you're doing this. And go right up to the, and let it spill over the sides of the paper. I'll tell you why. I always say, I'll tell you why. You'll know. You'll figure it out. Blah, blah, blah. Da, 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 da. You'll figure it out. I know. I got a lot to tell you. Okay? All right. So we're going to do that. I'm going to go to my next color. This is my light turquoise. Notice that I have these in cups. That's really to save room for the table for filming, but I always have them labeled with the Sharpie. Oh, guys, I cannot wait to see what you do with these. This is going to be the best seller. I want to see how you guys use these. Please post them in my Facebook group. Our AA Glasses Facebook group. Okay, so see how I've got this is light aquamarine. I go into my next color. I'm going to take it and just tap it and let it splash. Let it splash. This will blend into each other. Let it go on the whale's tail. That's just fine. And I am making sure that this is generally even. If I have any gaps, this is very important, okay? We want the same volume. It doesn't have to be perfection, okay? Then I want you to tap it down. Tap it tappy. Give it a little tappy. Tap taparoo. Such a dork. Okay. And then you're going to tap it, tap it, tap it, tap it, tap it. So I can see that frit color. I just gouge it, boom, and it's going into the next one. So now I'm going to go into the turquoise. Guys, once you get these painted, I'm talking a lot, and this video is like probably going to be 90 minutes or so. This is fast. This is fast, okay? So right there, I'm just not paying attention. Watch what I just did. I'm talking blah, 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 blah. No, okay? It's not going to be enough. This is perfect up here, and that's not enough volume. You're going to have problems when we slump, okay? So look at me. Look at me, guys. Look at me. Be methodical. It's not a ton of frit. Okay, so you're going to say, how thick is it? 2 millimeters. If I'm guessing, 2 millimeters thick, which is the thickness of a thin sheet of glass. Oh, forgot my sprinkle. I just want to blend the colors, so I'm sprinkling into the color before. Okay? Don't forget about that area. Push it up if you have to. We need that volume around the tail, okay? Now look, I didn't do that. Again, I'm at an awkward angle here, so I'm missing some areas. Mash it down, okay? There's a reason why we're doing this. This is going to be our base for the color wash that we're going to do. Color wash, what's that? Oh, Tanya, wait till you shall see. All right, now I'm gonna go with the sky blue. And see, I started to rush because I feel like you guys are getting annoyed with me, but you know what? We can't rush it. Can't rush this kind of stuff, guys. Okay, putting it down, putting it down, putting it down. Letting it spill over. You're thinking, oh my gosh, what a waste of frit. No, watch what I do. Okay, it's not nothing. I'm not gonna waste it on you guys. I don't do that. Right up to the edge, guys, okay? Mat it down. See, pretty, pretty. We call this make pretty. I just made that up, make pretty. We make pretty. And then I'm splashing into the next color. Okay, so that's blending and splashing and loving and being wonderful. All right, now, two things, okay? We have to clean this guy up. So what I want you to do is I want you guys to purchase a fan brush. Do you know what a fan brush is? Let's get that. Boom, look at that. I forgot it. Sarah had to go get one for me. Okay, so this is dry. This, again, is very important that this is dry before you start working with this. It has to be dry. This meaning the tail, all right? First of all, if it's wet and you start moving things around with the brush and getting the frit off there, you're going to get enamel on your brush, and this is dry frit. It's going to be a big mess. But I want you to take this off, okay? I love the fan brush. I love me some fan brush. All right, now look how nice it opens up. Looks very clear, looks very beautiful, okay? Before we do the splashing part, all right, the next thing I want you to do is when you lift this up, this entire piece, I want you to make sure, because you had bullseye gel in here, that there's no frit stuck to the sides. Use your finger and just run it down and get it off, because remember, we're only going to 1310. That's a very light tack fuse. And guess what? This will prevent you from being sitting right on the table after you slump it. So I just kind of run my fingers down. Okay, now see all this stuff that's down here? I'm gonna go ahead and scoop that into a cup. I'm working on a big map, but if you guys are working on a piece of typing paper, I would definitely reclaim that. And let me show you what to do with that. Okay, now let's work on the splash here by the tail. Working on the splash by the tail, all right? I knew that this needed something else, okay? So here's what I want you to do for the splash. Add some more bullseye gel. Okay, we need a different size frit to make that splash happen. Okay, let's take a look at this picture one more time so we can see this fantastic splash here. It looks so realistic. And then what I've got is some opaline striker, which is number 0403, and also translucent white will work for this, 243. Clear will work, but I don't think it will be as realistic if you're in a pinch. We're actually going to color wash it. There's that word again, color wash. What the heck is she doing? But here's what you want to do. Okay, so we definitely want the different grain. The coarse is good for this. All right, so what I'm going to do is pick up these coarse. The big chunks, I'm just going to place a few off to the side, like a splash. A few of these big guys, kind of up here. I've got a medium, kind of up there. You know, a splash. And then I've got, you know, coarse has a bunch of frit that's medium in size in the jar always, right guys? Let me dump out a little bit more here, okay? So I can kind of look. Okay, so I'm looking for the big rocks here. And I'm gonna go ahead, just not too many, don't kill it. It's just, those are the big water droplets. When you think about a splash, it's not every droplet is this huge size, right? There's only just a few that are humongous, okay? Just plant them right in there. And don't bury them, let them just sit right on top. All right, good. Now I want you to remember, this is opaline striker or translucent white is really good for this. Get your scooper full, and I want you to come right at the base of the tail and really group it towards the center. See, this guy is a really like a long oval one. I don't want that one. I want the more ball kind of, you know, rounder. Rounder is a good word. All right. Now I know when this comes out of the kiln, it's still not going to look like a splash. We have to do something very special to it. Okay. And let that kind of go right there. All right. Let a couple drop, different size. There we go. And it might even be a little too, there we go. Spread that out. Boom. There's your splash. Okay. And again, the splash is not done. Now, this is something very important. Remember I told you about these gaps right here? These gaps, I don't have perfect cutting right here because one, I'm sitting down, and two, I'm not concentrating on the cut, concentrating on teaching you guys. And you might have a little bit of a gap right here. Remember that frit that was in the jar that we just took of all the colors? What I want you guys to do is, very important, take that frit, and if you don't have a lot and you've already done it, just use one of the colors. And this is important. I want you to sprinkle it across the bottom, okay? Sprinkle it across the sheet glass. All right, spread it out evenly. I don't even use the scooper tool because it can dump too much. Look how it's bouncing and sprinkling. Bouncing and sprinkling and bouncing and sprinkling. I don't like that song at all. Sarah's staring at me, everybody. She's staring at me. Okay, look how much I have here. It's a pretty decent amount. I'm not burying it. It's a perfect sprinkle. Please use your fingers for this, okay? If you've got some big gaps, go ahead and fill it. Okay, with one of these do not do this with opal fine frit. I'd rather have you guys use clear. This is a point of, this is translucent. It's gonna melt right in there, guys. It's gonna melt right in and hardly even show the color, and I'm glad because there's a reason, because we're gonna do the color wash. Okay, now, this is done. Did not take me long at all. I could whip one of these out in about 20 minutes, okay? And so can you. All right, let's take a look at our results. Oh boy. Okay, first of all, this enamel is amazing. It's glossy, it's gorgeous. This was at the 1310. We got the frit right here. Nice and lots of texture, which is what we want, guys, okay? You've got your splash effect going on here, which is not, you know, sticking out yet. We're not popping out yet. And then you have all that frit right here, so we can give it a color wash. Okay, now this part is optional. You might just like this as it is, but I really was sitting here and staring at this for the longest time. I mean, I've done this like 6 times this week, and I thought, this needs something. This needs something, okay? So what I did was, I was putting more frit, I was putting more powder, I was washing it off, and I thought to myself, this is not working. I went to get an iced tea, came back, and thought, oh my gosh, that's it. Let's give it some kind of color wash to make it pop out, okay? So, what's awesome about this, we're going to color wash with an enamel, which can be done in any color enamel that you want. I'm going to use opaque white for this sea life type of thing. And then, I came up with a schedule. Okay, don't freak out. I came up with a schedule that you can slump at the same time and fire the color wash on the same time. So you've got one firing for everything that we just did, and then you're just going to slump this piece, or you can just be done with it. It's up to you, but I really like the, what do we say? We're gonna call it cool slumpy thingy, not a ladle. Okay, so I want you guys to get this really, what's the word? Cheap bristle brush. They're like real rough. You know, you want the real rough. I mean, I think I got a pack of 3 at the dollar store. Don't go to Home Depot and buy one of those Purdy brushes. That's crazy. Purdy being P-U-R-D-Y. It's a good paintbrush maker. But what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to dip this into white enamel, and we're going to color wash, color wash, color wash, color wash, okay? Let's just take a side-by-side of one that's slumped and take a look at this real quick. And this is color wash, and this is not. It actually looks like surf right here. It's so realistic. And it covers the top of the frit, but leaves the color in the background. It looks like you added another, I love it, and I want you guys to see it in person because you don't understand how amazing it is. Now there's my splash here, but now look at my splash here. It's frothy, it's realistic, okay? All right, let's do it. So I go ahead, I just have a little bit of you can use a paper plate. This happens to be right in front of me. This is just a piece of glass. I'm gonna dump just a little bit of that white, opaque white enamel, not mixing white, guys, just a little bit. All right, now, I don't want to go and rinse this thing. If you mess it up, you can go rinse it and start over, but just, you know, don't put too much on. Really just dab it out, All right, now check this out. Ready? Oh my gosh, you're gonna love this. Here we go. It's happening. It's happening. Okay, so color wash. Ready? It's guys, are you watching this right now? This is ridiculous, okay? In by the tail, okay? Don't worry about getting on the tail. We're gonna wipe it off. Watch the splash area come to life. Watch it come to life. Oh my God, it looks like clouds in there. All right, boom, 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 boom. Look at that splash come to life. Watch this, boom, 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 boom. Frothy waves, frothy waves, frothy waves. Okay, just right there. Now what's happening is because of the frit that you put down here, it's grabbing this color, all right? So we're not just smearing across the and it doesn't, this in no way, shape, or form just looks like you painted some enamel on there. So check out the splash area. That looks real good right there. All right, so the more color wash you want to do, the more texture, you would put more down here. If you just wanted a little bit of the color wash, you could just put like waves caps right here. But look at it, covers up all your cutting mistakes if you have any. Okay, look at that nice wash right there. There, I mixed some right there. Okay, you want to just get that paintbrush. Oh man, that's good. All right, now the next thing you're going to do is clean off that whale's tail. Take a little piece of paper towel and just wipe the tail. That's all you got to do. This is glossy glass. It's gonna come right off. Look at that. Okay. Now here's something else that's cool. Now you're really going to be excited about this, okay? Let's say you did the tail and you see a bald spot. You missed something. You didn't get it. You missed something. The schedule that I'm giving you is a schedule for slumping and firing this enamel. So you could easily go back and touch up. Or let's say you're doing one of these in a leaf, okay? You're doing one of these cool slumpy thingies, we're calling it, right? In a leaf. And you think, okay, I've added enough of the wet color, I've built, and I want to put veins in there the next time, but I don't want to do it now because I want to get real detailed, whatever. You could do it on this one, all right? And it'll fire on during the slump, okay? So all these schedules, and look at, it's got a little bit of like a shadowing right here at the base of the tail, which I'm going to leave that there because I think that looks cool. All right, I clean up the sides. This looks good. Now, if you take this out and you discover that you have missed something on the sides here, as far as not being clean, like frits hanging over, whatever, what have you. Guys, you could take a diamond hand pad to it, but I mean, you're only going to, I don't want to say, but I slump very low to get over that big hump of the mold. Very, very low. I was just looking for, if you're looking where my eyes are going, you know, there's this awkward hump here, right there. Okay, so I go very, very low, like 1160, and I hold for a long time, super low, but I get perfect slumps, okay? Now, that's not enough. If you start grinding this thing, now, it's not enough to take out those grinder marks, 1160. I want you to do the work before it goes in on the 1310, so make sure those edges are good. If you didn't cut it quite right, you know, take your time to make sure and shape it, all right? All right, guys, so now what we're going to do, well, since I have the slump out, you're going to take this slump, put it in the kiln. Doesn't look like it's kiln washed, but it is, just been fired. And I'm going to show like kind of this side to it for you guys, okay? Now, this is how I put this in the kiln. If you are putting this on your shelf, there's a hole, an air hole right here, and because this is curved, this will just sit right on the shelf. It doesn't have a flat bottom. If it had a flat bottom, I was telling you to raise it a little bit to get some airflow through there, okay? Now, what you're going to do is I always line up the fat end first. If this hangs over just a little bit, it means your cut is a little wide. It's okay. Look how deep the slump is. It's got to be at least 1 inch deep here, okay? So that will be fine. And because you're slumping so low at 1160, this center portion is going to go down. This is not going to hang over the side. By the time this gets real soft and melted, that center portion is going to be down, dragging that down, so it's okay if it hangs a little bit. It might be a little bit wobbly, okay? That's because, guess what? The mold, these are handmade. These aren't perfectly level. All right, so I'm going to take this and make it flush. I just use my hand like that, and I go down. Now you see this part right here is actually going to slump over, and we could have gone to 10 inches, but if you've gone to 10 inches, that means you guys got to buy a half sheet of glass because the 10 inch of bullseye glass is a rolled edge. We can't have a rolled edge or it won't lay right on the table, okay? So do 9 3/4. I even did 9 1/2 and it worked, all right? So this is that. We're firing the color wash on, firing the enamel on, and slumping at the exact same time. That schedule is in your handouts at aaglass.com. All right, so now, guys, that should be it. Everything looks good. We're going to slump this. Let's see what we get. We're going in TV land. And that's how it comes out, guys. How awesome is that? Okay, now for the finished result here, you see the whale's tail is not affected. It's still glossy. This color wash is fantastic. Everything is great. Everything is great. Everything is great. Okay, now I do find these ladles, if you find that they rock a little bit, it's because it's a curved bottom. What you guys can do is a couple things. You can take the bottom, if you have a wet belt sander or a lap wheel, you can just make a little spot, just rest it on the wet belt sander or the lap wheel, just like this, to make a little spot for it not to do that. And this is why you want to make sure that this edge is straight. If you've got glass hanging over, it's going to wobble. This needs to be straight down here, okay? This is why I don't want you to trace the mold. I want you to use the template that I did for you guys. Or guys, you could take a Dremel and just wet the glass. If you're going to do the Dremel, wet the glass, make sure that it's wet, and you're not trying to dig into her and grind it out. You just want to get a rough spot. Even take your Sharpie. Oh, another thing you guys could do is if you take this right here and you used an ink pad, I'm talking about a waterproof ink pad, and you just took this bottom right here and just went like this onto the ink pad, that would give you a mark of where you can Dremel it out. If I had one here, I'd show you guys, but I just thought of it, so I don't have one here, so that would work too. But anyways, make a spot on here to make it flat and sit, and then display your wares at your art shows. And remember, do not only put spoon ladles in here, okay? A candle can go in here. A washcloth rolled up this way. How can I get you guys to sell this glass? You gotta let the people, show them the way, show them how they can use these things, and then they'll buy them. I'm gonna show you the bromeliad version of this. It's going to be a quarter of the time, because I'm going to assume that you know all the rest of that, and then we're gonna move on. It's the same thing. And then I've got project 3, which is the metallic textured ginkgos, and I did not use a mold. I did it all with bullseye powders, and I'm very excited because it's almost Pat de Verre like, and I can't wait for you to see it. So let's move on. All right, guys, this is the bromeliad design. Lots of water jets you could use with this. Hey, look at this, is like a paintbrush holder. Look at, even a paintbrush holder would work. I'm gonna come up with some ideas and post them in the Facebook group, but maybe we can all work on that together. Okay, this is just a little bit different, and then I'm not gonna go through everything again, because you can rewind that and you don't want to hear that. I know you want to get to the sparkling ginkgos. So basically, cut my piece out of the template. That's in your PDF. And then what I have here, this one is already slumped. This is kind of like I had this idea of a terracotta pot coming out, holding the bromeliad, because that's what's all over my porch, as a matter of fact, in Lanai. I'm like, oh, that'd be cool. That's how I thought of the bromeliad, because I love the colors of them. And then this background is actually just clear fine frit, and then I color washed with 3 blues, and then I actually color washed the terracotta pot with a red, which was kind of cool. So let's kind of just skip ahead and just show you a couple things. It's not that big of a deal. But what also, guys, what I did was I gave you a template for the terracotta pot. It's in your PDF. So just use that and trace your glass on the template. If you're using opal, use a light box so you can see the lines. This piece is 3-inch wide at the top, 2-inch wide at the bottom. So we're going to go ahead and use the bullseye gel. And we'll just come through this pretty quickly. And I know that some of you are going to go, oh my gosh, where'd you get that awesome piece of glass? Guys, this was been in my scrap bin years ago from special production from Bullseye. So it's perfect for a terracotta. Any color that you can find for a terracotta pot. You could even paint a little flower on the top of here, and kind of like, you know, terracotta pots have, holding the bromeliad, whatever you wanted to do. So I don't have a bunch of different scrap glass here. I just have the one piece that's the terracotta pot. And then I have my bromeliad, which I've already put the white opaque, and I've blow dried this. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and just use some tropical colors and paint this guy. Get that out of the way. And I've got some Easy Fire Sun Yellow. Go, guys, look at your Google Images. Okay, look at your Google Images, and you know, look at what a bromeliad looks like. Got a little red. And then there's green in there too, but I'm gonna have greenery for the side kind of, what do you call them? Leaves, all right? So I'm gonna go ahead and skip the green for that. And these enamels were mixed a while ago, maybe like 10 days ago, and let's see how they look. They look pretty good. Okay, so I don't have a picture in front of me, I'm just kind of winging it right now. This is the orange. Okay, and then I just dab it out, and I see this one needs to be mixed a little bit more. Let's mix up this red a little bit. Just a little bit, because the medium was on top, because it's been a couple weeks since I've used it. And we're going to use that for a color wash too. Okay, so just dab it out, and then I'm just going to dip it right into the cup here. You guys can use a painting palette, what have you. I'm just kind of trying to rush through this so they can get the point. Let's get the ends here to be nice and red. And the thing that's great about the Ponce is you can actually, you know, just lightly sponge it and get that very organic look here. I don't like it to look stripy. So just think of all the water jet cuts that you could actually do this to. There's the first round of the pre-cut shapes are actually sea life and lots of botanical stuff. I'm going to put in the sun yellow now. Okay, don't forget, once we fire this with the color wash, before we slump it, we can actually add some more enamel if we need to. That's not a big deal. So you can fire it first. That's kind of coming out all right. That's all right. And then I'm just gonna get my red. So you should be doing not just one at a time. Plan to make these. These are quick. I'm talking a lot, guys, but once you get the steps down, you're gonna make these in 20 minutes. This is great. You're gonna have some originality here. You're gonna be the only one that has these at your art show, unless two people are watching us from the same art show. All right, that's good. We're gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna put it to the side and dry, or I'm gonna blow dry it before I glue it to my background. So let's go ahead and dry this up real quick. Okay, everybody. So we've got our terracotta pot glued on. Again, that template's in your PDF, and it can be any color pot that you want it to be. And I am going to color wash this with the red enamel. And then we have the bromeliad plant, and that's dry. That's beautiful. Make sure that's dry, because you want to use the fan brush on it. You don't want it wet when you put the fan brush on it. Okay, you're going to get enamel on it. So I'm just gluing up the entire background. I don't really need to mark this out because I just have this one piece of glass down here for the pot. Okay. All right. Good. All right, now I've chosen this frit. It's a medium amber and a bronze, and I thought that would be good for dirt. You certainly can use any color you want, but again, I really like the transparent because when I put the color wash on it, it'll give that color wash depth. But for dirt, you can use whatever you want. You guys can substitute whatever you want. Okay. I'm going to kind of mound that up, use my scooper tweezer. Mound up in the middle. I'm kind of obsessed with making these. I've made about 9 before we even started this, so everybody's getting a cool slumpy curvy thingy for their birthdays or whatever, if your birthday falls in the summer. But I really can't. There's a lot of designs that would really work for this technique. And what's really fascinating about the whole thing, which you probably don't know quite yet, is the firing schedules. The firing schedules were a lot of work, and especially on the ginkgo project. So you know, just the fact that you can slump something with such a big hump and a deep curve with uneven thicknesses of glass is pretty awesome. I did split the first 2, so you know, trial and error. But there's my dirt. Looks good. Now I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm working on a piece of white opal glass, and I'm actually going to put just clear fine in the background, just clear fine, because I'm going to color wash all types of blue. Okay, so remember, when you do this, be methodical about it and tap that tweezer, go right up against the pre-cut glass shape. You might want to outline it first, but I'm using all clear, no color. Okay, no color this time. And I'm actually going to do different color washes. Just go right over there. See, it's dry, so you can do that. And honestly, on the last one that I had, I left a couple pieces of frit on there on purpose, so it looked like water droplets. So that would be cool too. You can outline that if you feel like you need to first. Go right to the edge. Go right over the edge. You can easily reclaim this frit. And then don't forget your pat down. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up. And then we'll go ahead and add a little bit of vitrograph for some leaves. If you don't have vitrograph, you can buy it from us at aeglass.com, or you can use stringers. You can bend them with a candle, but that's a lot more work. It's a lot more work. You know, you got to do that. You can also take green stringers if you want them to have a slight curve, and you can slump them over like a lamp bender mold and get them to curve that way, but it's another firing. But there's always a way. The vitrograph I like because it has a lot of really organic shapes, and that's kind of cool. I don't use a lot of stringers in my work, but I do use a lot of vitrograph because I love the organicness of it. So I'm going pretty quick here, guys. You get the point. Okay, I'd pat this down. There's definitely some even areas here, but this video is already going to be long enough, so we're not going to worry about it. But you guys should worry about it, okay? And it's not because of the fact of you're going to color wash everything, but we definitely want to have as even thickness as we can, because that can cause us some problems in a slump otherwise, all right? Because if you have very thin areas and very thick areas, guys, the areas that are heated up quickly, the areas that are heated up first, which are the thinnest areas, when you go to slump, those will soften up first and the rest will not be ready to slump. And that's when usually a lot of splits and cracks happen in the slump. If you ever had like a split or a tear, that's the reason why. So look at that, perfect, beautiful, love it. Now I'm going to take some vitrograph pieces. Okay, and I'm going to add a little bit of, these are just the end pieces of some vitrograph. And that's exactly what a bromeliad looks like, guys. They've got that big flower in the middle. I've even seen them like hot pink. Take a look at, I'll put it in the PDF so you know how to spell it. And then their leaves are super green. And I like that orange in there, just, I don't know, I just kind of like it. Okay, so I'm going to add some of this. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, put that in there. And then I want this to seem realistic. So I'm going to leave that little leaf hanging over here, but I'm going to bury the edges right here in my mix of light amber, and by the way, and bronze. And by the way, this is medium frit. I don't use coarse, it's too rocky for this, so I'm using medium frit. Of course, you can buy exactly the colors that I'm using, you know, but you guys can make substitutions. What's really important are the water jet cut shapes, you know, the background, and so on and so forth, and the right tools. Boom. Okay, let's fuse this. So we're going to fuse this to the, oh, you know what I forgot? To put some of this fine, I hardly got any a mess here. I'm going to put this fine frit right over my pot. Now, don't forget, guys, I don't want to scoop it all on there. When you're going to, just let it bounce. See how it's bouncing? Let it bounce on there on the sheet glass. I don't want an abundance because the color wash goes wherever the frit is that's sticking up on top. Correct? We want it to hit the high points of the piece. You don't want to just color wash and paint the whole piece that you just did. You want to hit the high points. So what is your high point on here? The frit. And so it's going to take that. So let's go ahead and fuse this at that low tack fusing schedule. And then we will come back and do a quick color wash. We're going to color wash, then we're going to fire the enamel and slump at the same time using the very tricky, amazing schedule that I gave you. It's in your handouts. Okay, so let's take a look at what that looks like. Guys, here we are. This is amazing. This is the firing. Yay, that's what we want, okay? Don't forget to go ahead and take a diamond pad to your corners before you fire it, because the next firing is 1160, and it's not going to be enough to make those look, you know, a little bit satin and nice. So grind your corners. Do not forget, okay, before you tack fuse here. This is perfect. We got, oh, look at that. It's amazing. Now, this plant, I feel like the yellow up here is a little light. So, honestly, when I would do that last, I would color wash first because the color wash is going to get all over this. Clean this, and I'm going to add a little bit, maybe a little bit of green or something like that, and then you can refire it, okay? So, here's my background, but I'm going to color wash now. I just have clear on here, but I'm going to color wash with some other colors. So, remember, why are we color washing, guys? We're color washing to give it that shabby chic look, and you're just dusting across. Look at that, everybody. Dusting across the frit. I'm not going to go on top of here because that frit right there is actually supposed to be kind of dirt. So this is just for the terracotta pot. All right, I can clean that off, no big deal. And so it really picks up where the frit is. So if you have areas that you don't want color washed, like that would look very realistic, just go ahead and smudge it out. Don't put the frit there, okay? Because you're just going to glide across the glass. Wow, that's pretty awesome. I'm digging it. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and work all this out here. I should be getting a new brush, but you know what? I didn't bring one, and I'm not going to run it down. I got a big building, guys, that I have to run, and let me tell you, I don't run, okay? I only run when being chased. Like if I'm trying to get murdered or something, then I would run. But other than that, I'm not running anywhere, okay? So I've got this blue that I'm really going to go ahead and dab out because it's super dark. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Okay, I'm going to go into my royal blue. Don't worry about that. We can wipe that off. Okay, just blending. Just blending. Coming up here, looks a little bit too stripy for me. And that vermilion is really standing out now. Color wash, color wash, color wash. Using the Easy Fire enamels to color wash. That looks pretty good. Get right in there. This is easily can be wiped out. So that's why I use the clear frit sometimes when I really want the color wash to be prominent. Okay. Now I'm going to take a paper towel. All I need is a little bit of alcohol and water mix on there. Okay. And I'm just going to wipe the plant just a little bit. Look at guys. Come on. Are you kidding me? You kidding me, guys? All right. And just wipe it out. And if I didn't like the whole color wash, you could easily go just wash the whole plaque and do it again. And let me tell you something. This is a drop of enamel, and then you're really spreading it out. So if you decide you didn't like it, go ahead and rinse it out. Look at it, wipes right off. I didn't want that red there. Oh my gosh, I'm so pleased with myself right now. Look at me, okay? I love it. I think this is, I was just racking my brain. I knew it needed something. I liked the whole thing, and then I just thought this was pretty super cool. Get that vitrograph. Get that vitrograph. Get the top of it. Watch it all kind of pop out here. Okay? So now this has, if I wanted to, I could add a little bit more to the vermilion right here, which I think it needs it. I'm not going to bother with it now. You get the point, okay? And then what are you going to do? You're going to take that mold. Okay, don't forget how to set this up, guys, okay? So here's your mold, and you can go ahead and put this right on your kiln shelf. I just stuck my hand in the enamel. There's a hole right there that's drilled for airflow, and you have the airflow coming underneath here, okay? So make sure that this edge, the big fat edge, the wide edge, is flush with this end, okay? And then line it up. If it's hanging over a little bit, it's going to work, everybody. It's going to work. And after this comes this. And what do you have to say about that? So guys, that is my cool, funky, slumpy, cool thingy that holds a lot of stuff project. And now we're going to move on to the textured ginkgos, which is fantastic. You're going to love this. If you got it in you, all right? You got it in you? I got it in me. I got it in me. Do you have it in you? Let's go. All right, guys, this is an exciting new project that I came up with using the water jet cut shapes. Obviously, that's why we're here. But also using bullseye powders and blue gel. When I nailed this schedule, for those of you who are veterans, been doing glass for a long time, you are going to know what a feat this was. When I nailed this schedule, I was jumping up and down because here's the deal. Not only did I use the powders and mix it with blue gel and make a paste, not saying that I invented that, that's not, I've seen other artists do that as well. I retained the texture of the ginkgos. Take a look at this picture of the ginkgos and look at that texture, and you will also notice that it's sparkly. I used mica. Now, I left the mica on top. Not only did I leave the mica on top, but I was thinking to myself that it would bond with the powder because the powder is going to melt at a very low temperature. It took me about 4 tries maybe, and it did. And it did not lose any of its sparkle, and so the mica stuck to the powder without being contained within the glass. And it's amazing, and it kept the texture, and I'm really excited about it. Then I went further. I made these little textured ginkgos, and so obviously the technique I'm about to teach you can be done in so many aspects of your work, that's going to be awesome for you. I took the ginkgo, guys, and then I put it on a fused piece of glass, and then I tack fused and slumped into this new, they call it the bowl mold, but I think it's like a candle holder, it's a candy dish. I slumped it at the same time, and I still retain the texture of the powder. You don't know, you don't know, you don't know, you don't know, do you know, do you know, because it was amazing, okay? So follow the schedules. All right, besides that, what we're gonna do here is we're going to take these beautiful sparkly ginkgos, and I'm gonna show you how I did those and get that texture. No molds are being used here, guys, okay? So first step is to powder these up and put a background of powder onto these pre-cut glass shapes. And then what I do is I take it in the kiln and I fire it to 1300 for 10 minutes. I go up as fast as possible because these are little and these are not gonna break. Go up as fast as possible, one segment. If you don't want to go fast as possible in your kiln, go 600 degrees per hour to 1300, hold it for 10 minutes off. That's it, no annealing, they're too small, they're not going anywhere, and that's just to prep the water jet pre-cut shape. So make sure that you clean them from the jet cutter, and then that schedule will be in your PDF, which I'm giving to you guys, that will be available in the aaglass.com page. And you do not have to be registered or log in for free videos. This is just something we're doing for everybody. You could just watch it and download it right from the page, okay? All right, guys, so let's prep these ginkgos for battle. All right, guys, so what we got to do is we're going to create this super cute deep bowl. Let's flash a picture of that right there. It's only 5.5 inch by 5.5 inches, so that's awesome, and it fits a lot of the kilns. It's a tricky slump though. It is. I do slump low and I hold it pretty long. So I'm going to give you guys that schedule because it took me a couple times to slump it and get it to go all the way down. But I really, really like these for candle holders, and then also just little trinket bowls and things like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take these water jet cut pieces. We're going to use the ginkgo and the branches, and we're going to affix them to it, put it on the slump, use the schedule. We're going to tack and slump at the same time, guys, okay? So first thing we need to do is prep these pieces with powder. We're going to use opal powder. Here's the thing with powders. Whatever you put down, it seems like a lot, but it's not enough, okay? So then people hear this and they go start and mound up the powder really thick, and then they've got uneven powder and what's called flashing, and it especially happens with the transparent powders. So if you use transparent powders with this technique as a base color for your water jet cut shapes, what's going to happen is you're going to be heavier and then lighter in some areas, and it's going to have like a flashing of color and look uneven and blotchy. So I would like you guys to use opals. Here's the deal. Use the red big sifter. That's very, very important. The red big sifter. This is only for tiny little accents, which I'll show you how to use, but you think to yourself, oh, these pieces are small, especially this little branch right here. I'm going to go ahead and use this, but this causes a lot of mounding. I want you to use a big sifter so it's nice and even. You're going to go 3 passes of the opal, and then we're going to give it a little bit of a accent of color, okay? So everybody put your masks on right now, and the color I'm going to use is pea pod for the ginkgo, and I'm actually going to use garnet red. It's a transparent, but it's really dark, so it looks nice. I want the tips to be red. If you don't have this color, you could substitute. Burnt orange would be a good one. Deep red would be a good one. Or you can buy the exact colors that I use. That's fine. So that's what we're going to do. All right, so first of all, I'm going to do 1 ginkgo. I've got some made on the side here. And then these branches, I'm going to use woodland brown. And I'm also going to take the grenadine red and mix it in a little bit with the branches. It looks kind of cool. And then we're also going to give this a little bit of a black frit. Okay, everybody, masks are on. And what's very important here is that the sifter is full. The bottom part of the sifter is full. If it's not, what's going to happen is half of the powder is going to leave, and then you're going to get the powder dump on one side and it's going to be uneven. It's really to your advantage if we can sift this powder unevenly for the next part what we're going to do, where we're going to make a paste and make that texture for the ginkgo, okay? All right, 2 inches from the top, masks are on, and you're going to just tap it with your finger. Don't vibrate the handle like you've seen. That's how these are supposed to be used. Too much powder is going to come out. I want you to tap and move on and pay attention. That's 1 layer. This is the most important part of the process, so we have an even surface to build that powder paste on, okay? Here we go. That's 2. And I want you guys to do 3 passes. 3. Very minimal powder. Very minimal. Cents. Couple cents. 20 cents, 30 cents with a very minimal. This is a very inexpensive technique, okay? All right, and while I'm at it, I'm gonna go ahead and do these tree branches. I actually dropped one of these water jet cut. They are very strong, but they won't take a drop from 6 feet high, or 6 feet, what am I talking about? I wasn't on a ladder, about 4 feet high. So yeah, we're gonna use it, but it's a branch, so of course, that's no big deal, okay? All right, so I'm tapping, and I'm making sure. Now, I'm gonna tell you guys, for time's sake, I'm not on a piece of typing paper, but if I was working on my own, because we're already going to be well over the time we're supposed to be for this video, put a piece of typing paper down, sift your powder on, reclaim the powder, put it back in the jar. Okay, so that's 1 pass. 3 passes, always. 2, masks are on, and 3, evenly. Nice big sifter. There you go. Okay, it's that simple. That's woodland brown. Okay, now what I want you guys to do is take that garnet red, and I want to go right on the tips of the ginkgo, right on the tips there, okay? Again, substitute colors if you have to. I know that garnet red is a transparent, but it's super dark, and it will look really nicely over this pea pod, okay? Also, take the garnet red and just randomly go over the branches, just a little bit. Not everywhere, just random. Because when do you see a branch that's one color? You don't, right? Just randomly go, and that'll give it that reddish brown tone. That's it, guys. It's that simple. So if you are working, you're going to put a whole tray of any of the water jet cut shapes that you're using. You're going to do a whole tray and fire them. It's a very, very quick firing. You can literally, you can crash cool your kiln, guys. It's 2 hours. It's the time it takes to get up. Open your kiln, crash cool. They're not going to crack, okay? The only one that I'd be scared of are those big fish ones that we have. I'd probably, I wouldn't crash cool in that, but just let it cool naturally. But all these, exception to that, we've got 18 other ones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this fine frit, black fine frit, fine guys, fine. We're only going to 1300 for 10 minutes. I'm going to sprinkle it on the branches, okay? Give it a little sprinkle. All right. That's it, to make it a little more realistic. 1300, 10 minutes. Let's go ahead and fire these, and let's see how they come out. All right, guys, here's the results. Just absolutely awesome, no problem, okay? For observation purposes, you should see that this is pretty smooth and glossy, which is nice because it'll be easy for us to make our texture paste on here. So if you fire these and they're too rough, you can hold a little bit longer. You can see the shapes are just, you know, like a little bit of fire polish. So, and this ginkgo design I'm going to show you, this will be fantastic for jewelry, guys. You jewelry people, I'll tell you what, when I get back from vacation, I got a couple ideas with the daisies and the ginkgos. Let's do some for a video. But what I'm about to do right now, you don't have to put on a bowl and slump. You could literally use that for a piece of jewelry. That's going to be an awesome new line for you guys, all right? Okay, so the branches look good. You can see the fine frit. It's a little bit bumpy because I only went to 1300 where the fine frit is. I expected that. I wanted that texture. So fun, guys. And this is because these pre-cut shapes are clear. That's why. That's why we can do. This is what I wanted to do. I wanted to decorate. I wanted to paint them. I wanted to put powders on them, okay? So that'll be for later. So this part is tricky, but it's awesome. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and get really, really close on the camera here so I can show you. But the idea is this. We're going to take a look at this ginkgo picture one more time, and let's get a close-up of it. The top that you see is textured, as you would see a ginkgo, how they have those lines in them for texture and gives it 3-dimension. And so what I've actually done is I've taken pea pod powder or olive, opal, and what I've done is I've actually made a paste with the let's try that one more time, bullseye blue gel, okay? I've spread it over, like my ginkgo is like the bread and the paste is like butter, okay? Like you're making toast, all right? So I've spread it over, smoothed it out, used a razor blade, and made the texture. Okay, whoopity-doo, big deal. But as I gave you that lecture and praising myself at the beginning of this, I was able to put mica over it with a fan brush and then fire that, and we didn't lose the powder. So I went 10 degrees longer than the schedule that I'm giving you, and the powder collapsed and did not retain the texture because powder melts at a much lower temperature than the sheet glass does. It doesn't take much to melt the powder. It's just ground up glass, okay? So the trick to this might be like, oh gosh, that's kind of cool, Tanya, but really what it is the trick of the schedule, and to retain the mica on there at the same time, because the mica's not supposed to stay there at such a low temperature. Okay, so here's my ginkgos, 1300. 10 minutes. If you take these out and you see the blotchiness in here and you can see the back, don't forget, you're probably going to put them on an opaque surface, so don't worry about it. If you see, you know, like blotchiness because your powder skills weren't up to par the first time you did it, don't worry, you're probably going to put it on a base that is opal and that it won't show. Okay, here we go. First thing we're going to do is make a paste. So I'm going to take this, I have to be honest, I think it's 312. This is a Saturday video, we're informal. 312, what is it? Pea pod. Okay, I'm using olive and pea pod. I'm getting confused at which one I use, okay? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and then I'm going to make a little trough. Okay, so this is the, what am I using?
Pea pod.
Pea pod. Pea pod powder here. Pea pod powder here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is take my bullseye gel, blue gel, and we're going to put a couple big drops there. Why do I undo the cap? Why can't I just squeeze it out like a normal person? Here's the thing, guys, and this is, heed my warning, okay? If you want this powder to be stiff, if you make the powder too liquidy, it's gonna melt. When you put it in the kiln, the whole thing is gonna collapse like melted icing, okay? We have to find, it's like a thick paste. Now here is the best trick I figured out the best trick. This took me 2 days to figure out how to explain this to you guys, because the more gel that you have in the powder, the glossier it's going to look. That's not what we want. We want this powder to look like the color that's in the jar. So if we bring this color in right here, that's light, and look how dark this is right now because there's too much gel in here, okay? So let's get it all mixed up and see what we come up with, and I'll show you a cool, I was thinking, how can I give, you know, you can only, this is why live classes do not replace videos ever. You can only, you know, say and show so much on a video, which is awesome that we have these people who can't join us in person. All right, so it's too wet. It's too wet still. I'm looking at the color here. You can clearly see the difference, all right? Let's add a little bit more. You almost want it like that sugar cookie dough that you do. When you make sugar cookie dough, I remember my mom making Christmas cookies, guys. That's her big thing. She still does it every single year. The dough was pretty, you know, it had flour in it, and it was pretty, what is the word I'm looking for? Doughy. Okay, that's better, and not so wet. So now I'm going to go ahead and look at the raw powder form, and it's close to the color. Here's the test. Take a rib or a razor blade, a long polymer razor blade, one like this, okay? And what I want you guys to do is run it through the paste and flip it over. Okay, so if you see that a lot of it is stuck to this, that means it's not dry enough yet, okay? So you want to get it to where, let's use a blade, because that's what I'm going to do for the texture. Most of you guys will have this at home, okay? This can be fun, okay? All right, there we go, that's good. So it's just a little bit sticking to it, and then that's kind of a lot there. So it's not dry enough, okay? So we're going to add a little bit more. I was trying to think, how can I explain this to them, okay? No problem with getting your fingers in there. And again, I'm talking, so I'm mixing slowly, but when you guys are at home, you won't be doing that. You'll just be getting down to business, okay? All right, this is, I can tell this is good. It's stiffer, all right? We want it to be stiffer, which means it's more powder, less gel. More powder, less gel, because when we put this in the kiln and make the texture, we're going low. I can't recall the schedule. It's in your packet. I don't remember. I've done so many schedules in this week. But it's going low. If you go too high, it's going to melt down into the ginkgo. The beauty of this technique is retaining the texture, okay? Almost like a pâte de verre. We're making a paste. So I can see this is much lighter in color. Check it out, okay? It's pretty close. And that's because it's more powder than gel. And this is, you're going to probably use 10 cents worth of powder on this ginkgo. So if you mess it up, don't worry about it. Okay, so just run this through. Very little came on there, and that's what you want, very little. Just a little bit more. Use your razor blade. It's a polymer clay blade, tissue blade, I guess they're called. I think this is good. We're gonna rock this, okay? This is good. So let's go ahead and do the test. And look at it, almost literally wiped dry. That's how you know. If you run this through and there's too much gel, it's gonna be sticking all over there. That's not what you want. That's the test. Do the blade test. We'll call it the blade test, okay? All right, so let's go ahead. I'm gonna put my ginkgo. We're gonna go really, really close with the camera because I have to hold this in my hands. I really want you guys to get this. Okay, so now that you got your paste here, you're gonna take your ginkgo, and listen guys, don't quit. If this doesn't work on you, for you the first time, do it again. Just all you gotta do is take this off. See, I'm spreading the toast right now, and put it on your glass, okay? It doesn't look good now. Put enough on there, and what we're going to do is smooth this out, okay? So it's like you're buttering toast here, all right? Hold on to that ginkgo. I'm going real close with the camera because I really want you to get this, all right? Now watch what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna take the flat side of the blade, all right? And I'm gonna smooth it out. I'm not going like this because you're gonna rip the powder off. I'm smoothing it out. Look at guys, you have to do the smooth. You have to do the smooth. Let it go off the edge. Who cares? We're gonna fix that, all right? So go ahead. How thick? That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? I would say 1 millimeter thick, guys. 1 millimeter thick, okay? It's not that thick. Add a little bit on there. If it's too thick, I mean, it's all right if it's a little thicker. Nothing's gonna happen. I mean, it's just gonna be a thicker ginkgo, okay? And then smooth it out. So this is it. You're gonna butter your toast, right? And then smooth it out. Smooth it out. So the smoothing is important, everybody, because you're leveling out the powder. Now I'm taking that powder away from the sides. Look at that, all right? So that's not anything extraordinary yet, but we're gonna make it extraordinary, okay? And I've got this little stem down here. I've kind of been not doing the stems and just doing the textures because I like the look of that. You could go all the way down. But look how smooth it is. This right here is a ceramic rib. And if you can put this in your hand like this, and this will cover the whole, look how nice that is. You can get these very inexpensive. All right, let me show you a trick. If you're having a hard time handling this, and boy, I had to do about 12 of these. No exaggeration, you're gonna see how hard this is the first time you do it. Hold it in the palm of your hand, take the rib or the tissue blade, lay it down, put your thumb over the blade or the rib, and hold it firmly, not hard so you can't pull it, and don't move your thumb. Watch, pull it through. Look at it, it's perfect, okay? Down, pull it through. Down, pull it through, okay? Thumb down, thumb's not moving, pull it through. Let's do it with the blade. Look how perfect and uniform that is, all right? Do it with the blade, down, holding the blade, and you're pulling the blade through. Look, come on guys, that's how you do this, all right? Now, you do have a little bit of working time where, not a lot of working time, you got a good amount, but you know, you can always add another drop of gel. When you're done, you put this aside, let it dry out, come back and do some more gel if you wanna, you know, get it going. All right, we're gonna move that out of the way. So here we are, we have a nice smooth texture right here. Now, okay, what do? Check it out. Take your polymer clay blade, all right? Hold on to this guy. There's no problem with holding on like this. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna pull the blade through, all right? If it cracks, let it crack. If it starts to dry out on you, it will crack more and you know that you need to go back and get some more powder. This is probably 6 cents worth of powder. Now, follow the natural line of the ginkgo where it breaks, and I'm talking about these little breaks right in here, and make your lines, all right? So I like to go away from me, so I'm gonna follow the natural break of the ginkgo, okay? It's okay that folded over. Follow it right here, and then I'm gonna follow it right here, right where the break is, all right? If it starts falling apart on you, that's okay. I'm gonna pull some of that off. It's fine, you can blow on it. Okay, look at that. It just came right out. Okay, now we're gonna make our lines, guys. This is time sensitive because the powder will start to dry. You're gonna pull it all the way through, and ginkgo lines have very little space between them. Very skinny lines. Let it fall apart. It's okay, it's natural, it's nature. If you make a mistake, who cares? Own it, okay? Clean the blade. Don't let it build up on there and start dropping powder everywhere. It's a pain in the butt to deal with. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this. It's drying out on me just a little bit. Blow it. Clean the blade, run it through. Run it all the way through to the end. All the way through to the end. Very little lines. Look at that, guys. You kidding me right now? You kidding me? Okay, this is amazing. All right, now that that's done, I've got my texture. I want to show that orange on the edge here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take it away right on the edge. Remember the orange. I think I use the garnet red, right, guys? Yeah. I use burnt orange a lot, too. That's why I said that, okay? I'm going to kind of chop it away because I want the orange to show, everyone. Oh, yeah. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is pull the top away so you can expose the top color that you had, which was the garnet red. Okay? If you make a mistake and you close up a line, just go back over here and do it again. Guys, this is amazing. Look at, make sure there's nothing on the side here. All right? And there you have your textured ginkgo. Is that fun or what? Okay, now I have a little bit of powder. It's not perfectly clean on the edges here. I'm all right with that. It's all right because it's such a minuscule amount of powder that it's not even going to show after we fire it again, okay? So taking a look, I've got a couple lines. I start getting nuts with this, guys, okay? If one breaks because it's getting dry and you're doing it and like a line breaks and it has that crack effect, I love it when that happens and I'm all right with that. Okay, just playing with it. One of these should take you literally about 4 minutes. You will knock these out real quick. Now, how do we make them sparkly? Okay, of course that's a wonderful thing to show you. All right, what you guys want to do is get out that mica. And I'm going to use super bronze with this. I love this color, super bronze. With this technique, it's fantastic. All right, I'm gonna stay close in the shot for you guys. This is important. These are only, 2 inches large here. I want you to dip in the mica, and I want it to be pretty plentiful with your fan brush, okay? Skim right across the top of this thing. All right, and then swipe it away. See that, guys? Look at that. Okay? And that's just fine. A lot of this mica, when these come out, is going to wash away, but a lot is also going to stay, okay? And of course, you can use any color mica. You can use any color ginkgo. Why do your ginkgos need to be green and red? They can be whatever you want, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and just blow a little bit of this off. Take a look at it. I actually like it. There's a little bit on the edge. A lot of that won't stay. Most of it's going to stay on the powder. All right. And then you're going to fire this to this amazing schedule that's going to retain the texture of the powder paste and stick the mica. And in addition, it's not going to whack the ginkgo out of shape. So what I'm going to do is show you the difference between a fired and not fired. Okay. Look how much of that mica is on here, guys. That's incredible. All right. That is just incredible. So let's go ahead and set ourselves up for the slump. You guys could use this paste technique with the daisy, the monstera leaf, the fish, the scales for the fish. I can't imagine what you could do. I hope that you guys love this. Let's go ahead and just set up our blank for a slump. And really the beauty is the firing schedule, and I will have that for you in your handouts. Okay guys, I'm going to give you a schedule to tack fuse this onto a fused glass blank. This is a 5.5 inch by 5.5 inch square blank that I made with, dare I say, Celadon. We had these in our for screen printing a long time ago, but it's one layer Tecta, the second layer is Celadon. And you don't need big fancy glass in the background. These ginkgos are so extraordinary. You can see them right now. These are the fired ones, guys. These are the fired ones with the mica, and look at the texture. I can't handle it, okay? Watch this. Bam, jewelry. One right here, drill hole right here, drill hole right here, necklace out the door. Big seller. Cost cents to make. You had to buy the water jet cut shape, which is, I can't recall, inexpensive. We've got big ginkgos. We got little ginkgos, big ginkgos, okay? So here's our branches. All I did here was put this branch on, and what I want to do is use the bullseye gel again for placement. Make sure that your glass is clean. This is just a simple 2-layer blank. You just take 2 pieces of glass, stick them together, and full fuse them in your kiln, okay? Go ahead and gel. Go ahead and gel. I'm going to paint the back, or you can paint the glass, doesn't matter, whatever one you want. But you definitely want to use it because you don't want this guy sliding around. Okay, and I'm going to use 2 And then it's to make this ginkgo tree. And you know, there's smaller ginkgos too if you want. Oh, I love it. Love it. It's so, I sound like I'm like bragging, but it's really cool, okay? All right, so then what you guys are gonna do is, here it is. Do you know how hard it is to slump something that's very deep with a uneven thickness in the middle? Well, it is if you haven't done it before, and if you have, you know how hard it is. And so I'm going to give you my schedule. It's very low and it's very long. The slump is very low in temperature, so you might have to adjust it to your kiln, but do not raise that temp. Hold it longer if it's not. This mold right here is very deep. It's pretty deep. It's about 2 inches deep, and I want to slump it all the way to the bottom to get that nice rounded, you know, bottom here. So yeah, that's it. Follow that schedule. And if it doesn't slump all the way, put it back in and slump it again. Hold it longer, okay? All you're gonna do, 5.5 inch glass. Take this guy. All right, put it in your kiln shelf, obviously. This is even going to be a little bit over. I would say it's about 1/8 of an inch over. It's okay, we're slumping low. It's going to go low and very, very slow, and we're gonna hold a long time. That schedule will be ginkgo bowl slump, but I strongly suggest that you use that slump schedule for uneven thicknesses for all of your fused glass needs, guys, okay? Guys, that is the end of my show. I hope that you enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun for me to do. I've been working on this all month for you guys, and I hope that you like these pre-cut shapes. I was trying to find inexpensive ways for you guys to use them, and while incorporating them to functional pieces of art, you guys can start making stuff now for your shows and your internet sales. And we appreciate all the support at aaeglass.com. All of your supplies, they are listed in the newsletter that's sent out, and then if you go to the video page and you just hit the supply tab, it'll take you automatically down, or you can just scroll on down. And you saw how much powder I used. It was not a lot, so you don't need to buy 5 pounds and a pound. If you know, if you're on a budget, just get the small 5-ounce ones. I cannot wait to see what you guys do with this. Join the Facebook group. It's a new one. It's alive and it's wonderful, and we're going to be talking about this. So I hope you liked it, guys. Thank you very much. Bye bye.